They're closing in on you right now. Someone you once trusted is gradually and quietly crossing your boundaries. If you feel that unease in your gut, don't ignore it. It's an urgent warning to fortify yourself, protect your space, and refuse to become an easy target. If you value your peace and refuse to let yourself be manipulated, take a moment to like, subscribe so you don't miss any vital updates, and comment 77 to signal to the universe that you're ready to stand your ground. Chapter 1. A sudden glimpse of the real threat. You've always carried a bright, compassionate heart, open-minded, strong-willed. In a world full of envy and deceit, your light can attract both allies and predators. Lately, someone close to you, or once in your inner circle, has slowly and quietly started infringing on your personal space. At first, you might have dismissed the discomfort, chalking it up to stress or misunderstanding, but that nagging feeling never went away. It's as if a spider's web lingers at the edge of your awareness, reminding you that you're caught in something you didn't choose. The harsh realization hits in a flash. This person has been testing you, crossing boundaries you never thought would be breached. They've found ways to manipulate your kindness, maybe labeling it naive or suggesting you should be more accommodating. Whether they're a boss, a parent, a partner, or a close friend, the pattern remains the same. They move, you yield. They push, you doubt your instincts. And each time you step back, uncertain of how to confront them, they claim more ground. This dynamic isn't random. Their motivations could be jealousy, greed, a craving for control, or an attempt to drag you down from your high vibrational state. They see you shining with a confidence that threatens their own insecurities. Rather than elevate themselves, they choose to dim your brilliance. The watchers around you, acquaintances, other family members, even mutual friends, might dismiss your concerns as overreactions. But your spiritual senses tell another story. Deep in your gut, you know something is off, and it's not going away without a fight. Stop second-guessing yourself. This immediate sense of wrongness is real and not some fleeting paranoia. The universe is alerting you to a predator disguised in the clothes of a friend or caring figure. They might speak softly, feigning benevolence, or perhaps they use authority to overshadow your protests. They might claim they know what's best for you, but the repeated violation of your comfort signals they're not interested in your well-being. They're devouring your energy. It's time to halt this infiltration. You might wonder why it took so long to see them for who they are. Don't blame yourself. Manipulators excel by weaving illusions. They exploit your empathy, your fear of confrontation, and your desire to preserve harmony. What matters now is clarity. Your eyes have opened and you see the pattern with fresh intensity. It's urgent that you trust this clarity. People who question you, who say, "Oh, you're making a big deal out of nothing," will never fully grasp how it feels to have your boundaries violated from within. This is your life, your space, your spirit. You must act to defend it. This chapter in your journey is a test. How quickly will you assert your boundaries and shield your heart? The next steps may feel daunting, but they're necessary for your survival as a luminous being in a world that sometimes rewards darkness. You are chosen, yes, but being chosen often means being tested by those who can't bear the glow of your divinely gifted presence. Let this moment spark your resolve. No matter how deep their hooks have sunk, you can still extricate yourself and reclaim your inviolable freedom. Chapter 2. Recognizing the spider's web of manipulation. Take a long, critical look at how this person maneuvers around you. They prefer subtlety to overt aggression, a snide remark hidden beneath a compliment, an attempt to help that only cements your reliance on them, or a knack for showing up right when you're vulnerable. It's not just about them wanting attention. It's about them twisting your sense of worth so they can climb into your head uninvited. They see your kindness and read it as an open door. They interpret your politeness as a yes to intrusion. The manipulative webs don't appear overnight. The threads were spun gradually, with each of your small compromises feeding the next thread. You might recall instances where you felt uneasy, but they brushed it off so sweetly that you questioned your own judgment. Or times when they cornered you with, "You don't trust me?" As though your loyalty should be blind. The confusion builds until you feel powerless, like a butterfly pinned under glass. And they love that confusion. It makes you easier to mold. Recognize also that your silence fueled their advance. The fear of confrontation, the desire to maintain peace, or plain old exhaustion from dealing with drama, these gave them the green light. They're not resisting. The manipulator thinks, so I'll push further. They're cunning enough to sense your reluctance to cause conflict. In some cases, you even tried to rationalize their behavior. They must be going through a tough time. They mean well, but in reality, they feed on your empathy to sustain their ploy. This pattern is not your fault. Your spirit is naturally giving, and that's a strength, not a weakness. But you must realize that your generosity can attract those who only give in return if it serves their hidden agenda. It's time to get crystal clear about who invests genuine positivity into your life and who merely wants to drain your energy. The universe warns you because your potential is immense. The manipulator sees it too, and it terrifies them. They want to tether you to their world of half-truths and subtle sabotage before you can rise beyond their reach. Look for a hallmark sign. When you attempt to set even the smallest boundary, like requesting personal space or refusing to share private details, do they respect it? Or do they resist, guilt trip you, or escalate tension? Healthy individuals acknowledge boundaries without penalty. Those who push back with anger or condescension reveal their predatory nature. Once you identify these red flags, you can no longer pretend it's all in your head. The weather is real, and you have every right to break free. Keep in mind that extricating yourself from such a dynamic may provoke a final surge of manipulation. They may promise to change or lash out with dire threats. Don't buy into either. Their power comes from your indecision. By calmly but firmly reiterating your boundaries, you dissolve the illusions they wove. The moment you stand resolute, their web unravels. And with each strand you pull apart, you reclaim your sovereignty. This is the price of your radiant soul, to not just be a bright lamp in the darkness, but to fend off the shadows that try to snuff it out. In unveiling their methods, you neutralize their hold. This awareness is your shield. Chapter 3. Breaking the fear that keeps you silent. Lurking beneath your polite exterior might be a profound terror of rocking the boat. When manipulative individuals detect this fear, they exploit it ruthlessly. They know you dread conflict or the risk of losing relationships, resources, or reputation, so they inch closer, testing how far they can push before you protest. Each time you remain silent, your terror intensifies as your sense of security erodes. This is exactly how they keep you ensnared. But fear can be unlearned, rewritten. It's natural to recoil from confrontation, especially if you've been raised to avoid tension or if you have a history of toxic relationships. Yet the cost of inaction is the slow erosion of your boundaries and self-esteem. A quiet voice in your mind might whisper, if I say something, maybe I'll lose them or create drama. But another stronger voice must roar back, losing your sense of self is far worse. You cannot sacrifice your peace just to keep the peace. This is the pivot point where fear either fades or cements your submission. Realize that fear is an evolutionary tool designed to keep you safe from immediate threats. But in this case, your fear misfires, telling you that conflict is a bigger danger than letting an intruder hollow out your self-worth. That's the mental trap you must dismantle. Ask yourself, is someone who disrespects your boundaries truly an ally worth keeping at all costs? Genuine friends, mentors, or partners would never demand you remain silent or uncomfortable in order to keep their favor. As soon as you see this, fear starts losing its grip. Taking that first step toward confrontation might cause your heart to pound. You'll imagine worst-case scenarios. They might rage, lash out, or turn others against you. But you have resources you've perhaps overlooked. Allies who respect you, angels or spirit guides supporting you from realms unseen, and above all, your own unbreakable spirit. The moment you speak your truth, calmly but firmly, the manipulator's advantage begins to crumble. Their illusions feed on your silence. When you speak up, you expose their game. Even if they do lash out, you'll find your voice gets stronger each time you hold your boundary. A wave of relief reaffirms that you did the right thing. Momentum builds. Fear, once paralyzing, transforms into a galvanizing force. The watchers around you might be shocked at your sudden bravery, but those worth having in your life will applaud your stand for dignity. Observing you break your silence may embolden them to confront their own battles. Your single act of courage echoes wider than you might guess. Should the manipulator retaliate, let them. Their reaction is proof that you threaten their fragile power structure. True synergy blossoms only when boundaries are honored. You're not losing anything important by inciting their wrath. You're losing the weight of their toxic presence as fear recedes. You see how your silence was the last chain holding you captive. Now you're free to defend your sacred territory with an unwavering stance. Reject the idea that you must endure disrespect to keep relationships intact. True love and friendship never demand your subjugation, only mutual respect. This clarity is the dawn after a long night of dread, and you can stand in it with your chin high, ready to face the day's battles without blinking. Chapter 4. Drawing the line, the power of a firm boundary. A boundary isn't just a line in the sand. It's an act of self-respect, a shield for your spirit, and the bedrock of healthy relationships. The moment you sense someone invading your personal domain, you must react swiftly, like a warrior raising a sword. The manipulator counted on your hesitation, assuming you wouldn't notice or confront them. Their advantage dissolves the instant you meet their gaze and say, "Enos," but boundaries go beyond words. They demand consistent follow-through. If you say, "Don't message me after midnight," and they persist, you block them. If you forbid them to share your private affairs and they violate that rule, you limit their access to you. Every time you uphold a boundary, you demonstrate that preserving your well-being outweighs any fear of conflict. Expect pushback. Manipulative individuals dislike losing their playground. They may label you oversensitive or dramatic. Recognize these tactics as attempts to guilt you into compliance. Your responsibility isn't to appease them. It's to protect your energy. Boundaries aren't meant to punish, but to safeguard your peace. If someone resists, they confirm exactly why that boundary needed setting. Onlookers might chime in, urging niceness or compromise. The niceness without self-respect becomes self-sacrifice. Real kindness doesn't oblige you to endure disrespect. Every time you let a violation slide, you enable their worst tendencies and undermine your integrity. Cling to your boundary with compassion for yourself and unwavering resolve. Such firmness may feel liberating. You notice how often you once allowed covert intrusions. Now the tide turns. Free from a manipulator's infiltration, your mind clears, creativity revives, and stress dissipates. This calm vigilance is the power they never wanted you to have. It dismantles their hold over you. Boundaries also prompt self-examination. How did it get this far? Let that question yield wisdom, not self-blame. Maybe you dreaded conflict more than you valued self-worth, or you over-prioritized being nice. Identify these roots, then pledge not to repeat them. Durable boundaries grow from a conviction that your soul's peace is non-negotiable. Whatever consequences arise, any relationship demanding you forfeit respect isn't worth keeping in its current form. With each boundary set, you move closer to the radiant future the universe intends. The manipulator must adapt or exit, and either result is a triumph of your spirit. You stop feeding their illusions, standing tall as the sentinel of your heart. This is how you claim the right to exist fully unashamed. One boundary at a time, you carve out the sacred space where you thrive, even when cunning intruders lurk. Such resolve marks the unstoppable rise of a chosen soul. Chapter 5. The Exodus. Moving beyond their reach. Sometimes the most direct way to protect yourself from an invasive presence is to leave their orbit entirely. You may have exhausted efforts to make them respect your boundaries. And if so, the next step is a literal or figurative exodus. Finding a new job, moving to another city, or severing all contact. It's not running away. It's forging a path where your sovereignty is beyond question. Leaving can feel huge. Maybe you share friends, family, or professional ties. Fear creeps in, warning you of isolation or lost opportunities. Yet every vital transformation demands risk. If staying means constant violation, the cost is your peace. Miracles rarely unfold where your growth is suffocated. A fresh environment, whether geographic or mental, can spark the next stage of your evolution. Sometimes the universe nudges you with a sudden job offer or a friend's offer of a new start. Design random? There are signposts of a higher plan prioritizing your well-being. You might not see the whole path yet, but each move away from toxicity aligns you more deeply with your life's calling. It proves you're done wearing the chains of old limitations. Yes, an exodus stirs emotional ripples. Mutual acquaintances may push for reconciliation, but if repeated attempts failed or the manipulator's past proves irredeemable, that's not your burden. Peace shouldn't demand sacrificing your mental health. By choosing distance, you prioritize your freedom. Whatever judgments come your way, you may grieve. Even toxic bonds can leave emptiness. A piece of your identity was shaped by that environment's tension. Let it go. You're becoming a person who no longer needs chaos to confirm your strength. Here, your spirit recalibrates, your aura resets, and your creativity ignites. In your new setting, be it a different workplace, city, or social circle, you'll find people who honor your boundaries. A genuine tribe built on respect awaits. From this vantage, you'll see how stifling your old environment was and how it dulled your potential. Any onlookers who doubted your departure will fade into irrelevance when they see you flourishing beyond their limited perspective. This exodus isn't an end. It's a grand beginning. You're leaving behind illusions that once clung to you like dead weight. Freed from manipulative webs, your wings expand. Witness how swiftly you rise when no one's pinning them down. The universe applauds bold decisions, often backing them with serendipitous blessings. You're not fleeing conflict. You're entering your destiny. Each stride forward reclaims your spirit, your safety, and your unstoppable momentum. Chapter 6. Healing the wounds and welcoming new allies. After the exodus, healing isn't just a minor detail, it's essential. You survived manipulation, blurred boundaries, and perhaps heartbreak. Even if you left triumphantly, emotional bruises can linger, flaring up unexpectedly. Now it's time to cleanse your psyche and spirit, ensuring your next life chapter unfolds free from past burdens. Begin by acknowledging the totality of what happened. If possible, list out the moments that hurt most, the stings of deceit, the times you felt powerless. Not to brood, but to glean wisdom about patterns you can avoid going forward. This recognition also reaffirms your strength, forming a foundation of self-respect crucial for true recovery. Then commit to a ritual that fosters internal calm. Maybe it's morning meditations, nightly journaling, or watching a peaceful river flow. If nightmares persist, shadows of the manipulator, use affirmations before sleep, invoking protective energies to guard your rest. Say clearly that you no longer grant them a foothold in your mind. Gradually, their residue fades, replaced by resilient tranquility. During healing, remain open to new connections. With the toxic presence gone, the universe frequently orchestrates the arrival of genuine allies. A chance conversation could lead to a friend who respects your boundaries. On the romantic front, you may encounter someone who instinctively honors your personal space, a refreshing contrast to what you knew before. Notice how you feel around them. If there's ease and mutual respect, it's a sign you'll feel your aura attracting healthier companionship. Still, stay watchful. A wounded heart can inadvertently draw in another predator if you haven't fully integrated your lessons. Trust your instincts. If a new acquaintance stirs familiar discomfort, don't dismiss it. Boundaries aren't a one-off act. They become a lifestyle, sharpening your perception and quickly revealing whether someone is nurturing or another disguised energy thief. This isn't about retreating into isolation. Lean on those who earnestly celebrate your growth. Kind words, supportive texts, or open ears can speed emotional repair. Simultaneously, honor your need for solitude. Healing is personal, and each person's pace differs. Some thrive in quiet reflection, others need more social distraction. Do whatever truly nourishes you. Finally, celebrate the small wins. If you can recall your past without wincing, or if you hold a boundary without trembling, pause to acknowledge that progress. In these tiny triumphs, your soul sings of liberation. No longer defined by a manipulator's hold, you emerge stronger than ever, a living testament to transformation, a warrior who overcame infiltration and kept an unbreakable heart. Chapter 7. Marching Forward, an Unshakable Triumph. Now you re-enter the battlefield of life, no longer bound by the manipulator's grasp. Scars and lessons have sharpened your perspective, fueling a bold return. This is no timid reemergence. It's a triumphant march, brimming with the quiet certainty that you've shattered both external oppression and your own silent fears. The watchers see someone who moves with the unspoken message, I am not to be trifled with. Here you apply everything learned, the need for firm boundaries, the value of self-respect, and the warrior strength you discovered under fire. Challenges still arise, but you're now operating from a higher vantage. If you're asked to hold firm, whether for a job, a relationship, or a sudden crisis, you won't cave to internal or external pressure. You found that the cost of pleasing everyone else is never worth losing your authentic core. You might feel drawn to share this wisdom, perhaps to guide friends facing similar manipulations, or step into broader arenas where you champion self-empowerment. The universe often elevates those who've broken free into roles where they uplift others. Accept that call. Your story resonates because it's real, and its raw power can liberate those still caught in webs of control. Echoes of the old manipulator may still flicker like distant thunder. They might try a final attempt at contact or spread rumors. Let them rage into emptiness. You owe no reaction. Your silence is louder than any response. You stand on a new stage, beyond their reach, forging alliances with those who honor your transformed state. Keep practicing the vigilance you've cultivated. The world is still vast, and there are always those who seek to exploit. Your heart remains open, but now it's guided by sharper intuition. You can tell the difference between naive trust and wise openness. The first invites heartbreak, while the second fosters real connections and guards your dignity. Hold to this wisdom, and you'll never again fall into the same traps. The universe celebrates your transformation. With every day you remain rooted in your truth, your energy strengthens, drawing in blessings that align with your raised vibration. Opportunities in your career, finances, or personal ventures may come through unexpectedly. New uplifting relationships enter your life. None of this is by chance. It's the natural result of reclaiming your power. Freed from draining energies, your path now overflows with the potential you've always carried. Move forward with respect for the battles you've won. Let your victory inspire others who are walking a similar path. You're not just a survivor, you're a warrior who refused to let infiltration shape your future. This is your final battle cry. I confronted the threat, set my boundaries, and stand unbreakable in pursuit of truth and freedom. Now go, with your heart on fire and your shield unwavering. The journey continues, but you walk it now in unshakable triumph, led by your light, unstoppable.